So this is for trigo first teaching worksheet. So in the first part of AMAth trigo, we will deal with special angles and trigo ratios of any angles. So we will explore all the angles in the four quadrants and how are they related to the basic angle. So before we get going, in AMAth trigo, you will be dealing with questions either with degree or radian. So this is just a quick recap. So you should have done it in, so there should be a section just on the conversion. So if you want a quick one, so we can do a summary like this. So from degree to radian, you just multiply by pi over 180. So if you're going backwards, you will multiply by 180 over pi. So if you want a quick recap, so that will be the idea. So essentially, there's no need to convert. If the question presents to you in degree, you do it in degree mode. If the question presents to you in radian, you do it in radian mode. So actually, there shouldn't be a need to convert. But if you want to, this is just as a backup. So in like a simple question like this, so if I need to, I will leave it in pi, reduce the fraction, or I can leave it as a 3SF. So if I want to convert radian back to degree, I will multiply by 180 over pi. So for degree is 1 dp. So that will just be a very quick conversion. So degree to radian, radian to degree. Okay, so it's interchangeable, degree or radian. So you just must be flexible enough. So the guideline will be if the question is in degree, you make sure your calculator is in degree mode. If your angle is in radian, you make sure your calculator is in radian mode. So the first part is we actually have 3 special angles. So they allocate these 3 angles to be special. So 30 degree, 45 degree, and 60 degree. So these are the 3 special angles that are being allocated. So they classify these 3 angles as special angles. So you must be able to convert to radian if you need to. So that's how we convert. Okay, so if you go, so for example, right, okay, this is the table that you actually need to memorize. So for example, if your calculator is in degree mode, you go and punch sine 30, it will give you a half. So if you want to do the same thing, but you would like to punch sine pi over 6, you will still get a half if you have changed your calculator to radian mode. So sine 30 in degree mode will be the same as sine pi over 6 in radian mode. So that is the idea about degree or radian. It doesn't matter. So for a start, if you want to, we can just stick to the degree mode. Get your understanding in the degree mode. So this table is something that meant for you to memorize. You realize there's a lot of certs. Your calculator will not return you certs. So if you punch, right, for example, Okay, so now I'm going to do everything in a degree mode. So if you have punch cosine 30, your calculator is not going to give you the certs. You realize if you punch it up, it actually gave you a chain of decimal. So how on earth will you know that this chain of decimal is actually √3/2? One way is you memorize. Another way is you press the squaring. So if you press the squaring, you actually get 3/4. So when you press the squaring, you got 3/4. You do your own manual square roots. Not on your calculator, of course. Either do your square root mentally or on paper. So that's how I found out that it's actually √3/2. That means, right, this chain of value is actually √3/2. So that is a way that you can use calculator. So another example will be, for example, my tangent 30. If you go and punch tangent 30, obviously you are also not getting the 1/√3. Your calculator will never give you this. The calculator that gives you 1/√3 is the one that is not approved by O-level. So your calculator actually gave you this. How on earth will you know that that is 1/√3? You carry on to press your calculator with a square. You press it with a square, you realize that it gave you 0.33333, which is a 1/3. So actually I'm doing manually. So I will get my 1/√3 if I throw the square roots over. And this is the rationalized format. So you can give it a try for the others. So for example, you can give it a try for sine 45 degree. Sine 45 degree will not give you the 1/√2. If you punch calculator, it will give you a chain of decimal. Sorry. It will give you a chain of decimal. So either you go and memorize that, oh, this one I recognize is 1/√2, or you go and punch a squaring on your calculator. If you punch, you get a half, meaning that you got to manually take the square roots so that you know that this long chain of decimal is 1/√2. Okay, so another one will be, so for example, another one is this one, tangent 60. So tangent 60 will give you 1.732. 1.7320508. So how on earth will you know that that is a √3? So you punch on your calculator, it will give you a 3. And you take the square roots manually. And that's how I get the √3. So that means, right, I use the calculator to help me. So your teacher might have shown you another method using a triangle method to memorize this. So it's actually not, I think it's faster if you just use your calculator. So as long as you go and square it, it will give you a nicer number for you to manually take a square root. So you cannot take your calculator answer after you press the square. You got to manually do it up. Otherwise, you just memorize the numerical value. Okay, I do not memorize the numerical value. Okay, I will just like punch from calculator, and actually I already recognize the certain numbers. So either that or you do the squaring. You do the squaring on your calculator, you do the manual square root so that you know all the certs. Okay, so how will you be tested for this? There are one of the way that you will be asked to do this is like example 1. So when they say without using calculator, there is an indication that you got to be doing it in sets. That means, right, don't go and punch everything out directly. You're supposed to work it out in sets. So like for this question, so what is the set for this? There is a square root. What is the set for sine 60? Okay, that is root 3 over 2. So after you replace it, it's more like doing it in sets. So whatever you learn in sets is back here. And that's it. That's the answer. Okay, so same for this one. So this is a half. This is a 1. This is a half. So you will get a half divided by 1.5. So that's how we find the numerical value by using the table. So table will not be provided. You just have to memorize or use your calculator trick. So try squaring on your calculator. So that's my suggested method. I always do that. Okay, so this is the idea of special angle. So why are these 3 classified as special? I also don't know. They just classify these 3 as a special angle. So this one will lead to subsequent other topic. So that's the calculator trick, and that's how a question can ask regarding special angles. They will not tell you these are special angle. You got to recognize that it's actually special angle.